The drift of trade to the east was one of the themes at the Asian Logistics and Maritime Conference in Hong Kong in 2012. And addressing that question was Scott Price from Walmart Asia. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And really looking at Walmart, it's a pioneer in China. What do you think is really the competitive edge that you have where it comes to price and I guess also speed?
You know, Walmart in retail is really a thermometer of what a particular customer base is willing to pay for products. So if you do your job well, you meet the needs economically of your customers. Walmart, in our 50 years of history, has focused very much on a philosophy of everyday low price. You can only achieve everyday low price by delivering a model of everyday low cost. So when we enter a market like China, which we entered 16 years ago, and as we built up the network of stores that we have in China today, it is very much focused upon the most efficient possible network to be able to deliver those products to our customers through the lowest cost system. Logistics is very important to us. Quite honestly, in markets like China, more than 95% of what we sell is sourced domestically from China. As a result, the development of the infrastructure domestically is critical. So in addition to the standard logistics one thinks of when you think of general merchandise, apparel, or electronics, the fresh supply chain and the grocery supply chain, the ability to add in very clear food safety in your cold chain to ensure that when you do sell to your customer at a low cost, you're also able to attest to the quality. In the last decade or so, China has become quite mature, certainly on the East Coast and the Tier 1 cities. The expectation is that same level of expertise will move westward as Tier 2, 3, and 4 cities also become far more developed in terms of a middle class. However, the e-com opportunity is becoming a bit of a level playing field where through the development of technology, the customers, the consumers in both of those have access to the same level of product visibility. The challenge between the two is the logistics, that last mile delivery. The network is far more developed in the Tier 1 cities than it is yet in the Tier 4 cities.
So you mentioned the internet and e-commerce, but does that mean that Walmart will be receding really from physical stores, developing much more in the e-commerce direction?
I think that the peaceful coexistence of what we call bricks and mortar will continue for decades with e-commerce. Ultimately, there is a different demographic acceptance of the internet. What a 15 to 25-year-old buys is very different than what a 45 to 65-year-old buys, and then their interaction is also very different. We are a large grocer, for example. And we have a very heavy presence in fresh foods. The process by which a customer makes a decision has a lot to do with cost, speed, and the convenience of the buy. And I still think that there are many years. We do see e-com as a very interesting channel for us. Ultimately, we want our customers to be coming to Walmart, either bricks and mortar or online. I still see lots of opportunity for many, many more stores in China, while we're also beginning to develop a very strong e-com channel through the Yihaodian relationship that we have today.
Well, you're in Hong Kong attending the Asian Logistics and Maritime Conference, where you're a major speaker. But can I ask you about the conference, whether you see this is a major way in which logistics firms can come together, look at the trends, look at the future?
You know, if you look back 30 or 40 years ago, the logistics question was far less strategic than it has become today, for a few reasons. I think the first is that consumption globally 40 years ago was far more centered more towards the West. Then as the sourcing began to move more towards Asia, and then as Asia began to develop as a consumer market, suddenly the interconnectivity of the global economy became complex, thus requiring a far more sophisticated level of logistics. Hong Kong and the role of Hong Kong is very important. It has the geographical benefit of where it is located. Obviously, the connection through to China is very, very important. What will be interesting to see over the next decade or so is as the China and the North Asian economies move in terms of the import or inflows relative to production for export versus the development of their own import for consumption of finished products, how Hong Kong's role relative to the ability to act as a hub to facilitate both of those will change. And therefore the conference and the topics that we're discussing today, I think, are pretty critical to understand how Hong Kong stays ahead of that curve.
So you'd see Hong Kong moving up the value chain, if you like, and even being a model for logistics in China.
I think if they do it well, yes, very much it could be.